널 기다렸어.
Pins, got some more money off of that, maybe gotten an Archon or two off of that Templar archive he was building, but you just let them go in completely, and then it was like, oh, he's in a better position than me, and basically how PvP is right now is mash the H key, who has the bigger army, because everyone kind of like hold micro, like gets closer and closer. It's like, oh, I'm hitting your Nexus, and if you walk into me, you're going to get a bad angle.
Stork is coming down here to help out his player Hurricane.
Yeah.
No surprise there. All the coaches are here today. You'll probably get a shot of them with their players a little bit later on. Saw Choya, saw the KT coach, saw the Jin coach. Everybody's down here.
So, we have obviously 4 processors in this group. So we're going to be seeing a lot of processors across, but this idea of like, I have the bigger army, I have the better angle, and if we both press H because we don't want our charge zealots to run in and die, mine's in the better position. It's like siege tanks or something. You just kind of siege up the base. You keep pressing H. You'll see the players do this. They just keep tapping H, hold microing closer and closer and closer. And if you have the bigger army, like Hurricane did there, you're going to lose your third base if you're SOS.
Well, let's jump into game number 3 here. Curious, going to be our first time seeing him today. He did defeat both Lenok and Classic 2-0, so he had a fantastic qualifier to get in here. So perhaps he wants it really bad this time.
Yeah, this is a really sick result for him. He's had a bad year. He had an incredible year last year. Even won a foreign tournament, but check out Gumiho, okay? Gumiho is already 0-1 in this group, but I do like his chances going into this TVZ. One of the things that Gumiho has going for him, the same that Curious has, is they're the only players in this group of their race, so they don't have to practice for the mirror matchup. And this first match that they play, I guess Curious' first match, is the only time they're going to play a TVZ. The rest of it's going to be TVP and ZVP. Everyone will play against each other twice, so they'll play against each other one more time on the second stage of the group, but once they're done with this, they can really focus on the versus Protoss matchup.
It's very true, and you guys should savor this because we're not going to have a lot of TVZ. This is going to be the first of 2 that we have today. So let's jump into our first one here on Frozen Temple. Here we are for set number 3. This is, of course, Group B of the Challenge of SSL. Up in the top left, our only Zerg player of the group, it is Curious.
And down to the bottom right, in blue, it is Gumiho, the only Terran. The Towel Terran.
He brought us towel today.
He did.
And I don't know how he plays with that kind of towel. Like the silk towel. I don't know who this is, by the way, but he was giving, like, small energy vitamin drinks to the cameraman. Very nice guy. He must be somewhat involved in the scene.
I think, is that... God, I'm going to say something like the Brood War fans are going to riot, but I think that might be Frozen, the Samsung. He was like a Samsung assistant coach for a while. Not entirely sure what his role is right now specifically. That is what Frozen is doing. I don't know if that guy specifically is Frozen because Frozen very rarely appears, but Frozen was like the behind-the-scenes coach for Samsung for a really long time, and no one really talks about it because Stork is the more famous.
Well, I'm sure we're going to hear it on Twitter, whether or not you are right or totally off, either positive or negative comments. Or it could just be neutral saying, who that actually is. That would be the nice thing to do.
One guy's like, actually, it's just like one of my Korean friends. He's at the studio. He's just a fan. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, it's like he like tweets. He like sends a message to his friends like, Wolf thought you looked like Frozen. He's like, oh, really? Don't be shy.
Face.
Girl on the right side is not shy though. For like the 1/10 of her face that was showing.
She thought about not covering her face. Or no, you were talking about the all the way on the right one.
Yeah.
I was talking about the middle one. She was like thinking about it, but then her friend did it, so she's like, I gotta be cool too and cover my face because that's what everybody does.
Well, if she doesn't
follow the pack.
If she doesn't cover her face, then maybe her friend thinks that she's like too good to cover her face. She's like, oh, well, you think you're just not shy, and I am.
Yeah.
So
you think you're better than me? You don't have to cover your face. You think you're prettier than me?
The thing is, if you don't cover your face, all right, I'm gonna say something controversial. I think you are better because then you're actually being proud of being a StarCraft fan. You're not hiding your face. Okay, even if you skipped Hagwon to come here, And you know what? Then your mom knows that you're a StarCraft fan, because if mom's worried if you skipped Hagwon to come to the StarCraft tournament, but she's watching StarCraft. She's the coolest mom of all time, and she'd probably be like, oh, my daughter skipped Hagwon to go to StarCraft. She doesn't know that I like this, but I do. Just don't cover your face. I don't know. That's the bottom line.
Yeah, I don't think what you said was very controversial. It's like saying that apples are not delicious or something like that, or that they are delicious, rather.
Well, I mean, there was this one time.
There was this one really weird guy that I met named Wolf that doesn't like fruit, but besides him, like everybody was on the same page with the apples.
Right. I hate fruit. But there was this one time I told some Korean fans that they should, basically just be proud of what they love and never be shy. And then a bunch of people all over the internet from all over the world told me I was wrong, and they were really upset with me. I don't know why that happened, but hopefully that'll never happen again. The Reaper scouts to third base. These Lings finally shutting it down, actually being the sneakiest Reaper of all time, and being very annoying, but no real damage done. Curious with Overlord speed does come in here and scout the base. And starts a Roach Warren at home, which I can only imagine is for aggression, because nothing he's scouted warrants that at this point.
It could be for some aggression. He is making Lings here and there. He's going to go up to 10. It looks like just for defense, perhaps. Going to make 10 more. Could put on aggression. Could just go for that Roach Ravager style, defend on that, and then eventually transition.
Yeah, I'm starting to think that may be what this is. Like, he's getting a lair already. This drop shouldn't be too difficult to defend. The Widowmine is hoping to get the Lings, and will get a few, but not enough. I'm going to force an Overseer to come over here as soon as that lair is done. I might even just leave that Widowmine for a while. Now we're going to see the tank come over. Now he has enough spots for 2 more Marines to get into the original medevac, and then he can turn this medevac into a tank evac and continue to harass with that. So I think that's probably what the plan is here. Gumiho very good at early to mid-game harass, and I'd say most famous for his Marine drops in the mid to late game as well. Just he's all over the place, very aggressive, harassment-oriented player.
And I love the fact that Curious makes, it looks like he made 3 Ravagers, but 2 is all you need to take out a Widowmine. Just makes enough to take that out. Will be useful in the defense. Drop coming into the main now. This is kind of an annoying map to deal with these drops, because you got to go all the way around. You can see that Gumiho can just pick up here and go straight to the third base if he wants, and it looks like that's what he may do.
Yeah, got nearly 2 Overlords there. That second one's still alive at 20 hit points. The Observer really sad about that, but he's not making this into a tank evac. He's just keeping the tank in tank mode. Gonna lose those 2 Marines anyways. You know, I think it could have done somewhat a little bit more damage if he went tank evac there, but just playing it safe instead, wanting to keep all his Marines alive. He's gonna lift this 3rd orbital down. Curious is upgrading his Roaches right now. He's adding just 2 more. And we haven't seen him do anything with that lair tech just yet. He's adding a bunch of gas. And Gumiho is also getting his own upgrades. He's playing very greedy in that sense. Even repairing this medevac. I like that a lot.
I like the just pressure that Gumiho was putting onto that base, the third base. He just wanted to force out a bunch of units. He never overcommitted. He went for a drop into the main, but the second the units came in there, he just lifted up and got away. Just did not want to take any risks. And you can see he's coming back here with the tank evac, gonna snipe some of these tumors. Even do a bit of damage to this queen here.
Got to be careful about taking medevac hits, though. It really hurts how much you can stick around with the tank. As we do see an armory coming up, lining up with the 2-2. An infestation pit going to be for that hive as well. And realistically, I think Curious, with all the units he's built, can take a 4th base pretty soon. In fact, he's going to take it right as I say that, just up there at the 12 o'clock. And he's going to have Roaches with speed. He's going to be able to make some Ravagers to hold off any pushes that come here while he's teching up to his Ultras. He's getting 3 more Infestors. They're not going to have Pathogen Glands, but it's going to help him hold pushes like this and lock down these units for the Corrosive Biles.
Seen so many ZVTs like this. Dark liking to play like this a lot. Fast tech into Hive. Try to get Ultras out as soon as possible, but just make enough units to hold on until then, but don't overmake them. This is the key push for Gumiho. He needs to get some damage done here as Curious is teching up big time. but it's not going to be easy.
Oh, this is some really nice placements on these corrosive battles. Meanwhile, Liberator is going to go into the main base. There's only one queen here, no spores whatsoever. Look at this, using the siege tank on the other side of the rocks as he comes in with a secondary force here, trying to do damage to that hatchery. The Liberator gets 4 kills and stops this whole entire base from mining.
That's pretty huge. The queens were at the front for the defense. He needs to make emergency queens here to try to deal with this Liberator. He could send the Ravagers in, but he needs those for the defense as well.
He's supply blocked as well with all these Overlords being killed. Looks like this Liberator will go down if he doesn't reposition it. Yep, too late.
He was a sergeant. He got 10 kills, that one Liberator. So much value there. He denied even more mining time in the amount of damage that he did.
All right, here comes another force of Gumihos. His army very large right now, and arguably he has the better composition if he can avoid the corrosive biles. There are still those 3 infestors in this army, and they haven't been utilized yet. But if they get good fungals, they can change everything. This is mostly a marine army. It's almost pure marine. Here comes the army from the left side.
Fungals are ready. If he can land a couple of those, that would be it for the Marines with some corrosive biles, but obviously tanks in the back supporting quite nicely. And this pressure is keeping Curious from teching into any hive tech just yet. No Ultralisk Cavern, no anything really, just upgrades in units at this point.
Yeah, more and more roaches. He's supply blocked again, that Overlord about to finish. I think it's time to make an Ultralisk Cavern soon. Fungal hits only 2 Marines, and he actually backs off and splits here. There's another tank on the left side. This is going to be a tough fight for Curious to take. And those Fungals not connecting enough. You know, only getting a few Marines here and there hitting the siege tank. He does secure the kill on that siege tank, but another one's going to come and take its place. Finally, the Ultra Cavern added.
At least he does keep those infestors alive. I think he's got 1 more Fungal at this point. But he's almost got 3 or 4 even. Getting close there, but it's going to be close hold on this fort base. Gumiho pushing in, but Fungal's coming down, and it hits all the medevacs, actually. Corrosive Bile's going to hit a bunch of them. A really nice concave, though, for Gumiho.
Yeah, I think there's just too much on the ground for Gumiho overall. Those last few Corrosive Biles were powerful, but it doesn't matter if there's Bio that's just going to out-DPS and be out-healed. Roaches and Ravagers attack too slowly. I talk about this all the time. The medevac out-heals their slow attack speed, even though they do burst damage. You know, with all these small targets with a lot of very rapid healing, it's tough to actually win that fight after the biles are over, after the, you know, the fungals are over. And, I mean, he's got so much bio here. He's only up 3 army supply, but I think his comp is just vastly superior with all these tanks to support the back as well.
Look, it's so awkward for Curious because he had to make roaches to try to defend. He had the Ultralisk Cavern, but he could never save up a bank to make any Ultralisk. Now Liberators are getting into the mix. There are Ravagers here to deal with it, but only Ravagers, basically. And all the tanks on the ground are doing so much damage to this Zerg army.
And it looks like he may barely survive here with transfuses. But this is when Gumiho just continues to rally units over. He can keep these tanks alive forever with the medevacs, and look, even grabs a queen. And Viking escapes the corrosive biles. He can lift up these Marines to save them. I think it is time to leave, but he wants to be super greedy here and get every single shot off that he can.
Yeah, he's sticking around. He's got that rally. GG. Gumiho takes the win over Curious, deciding that he's strong in every matchup tonight. Curious is playing a very standard, basic style, and I love the way that Gumiho pulled it apart with that pressure.
Yeah, and I think that style, the Ravager Roach style, is dying. I'm not a big fan of it myself, and I think it's actually just... Oh, I just put the marks in the wrong place. God, I'm an idiot.
We get back on camera, we're both just like marking our little notepads. Another, that's an away win actually for Gumiho. So
yeah, all
nice
3 wins so far were away wins. We are going to have commercial breaks after every 3rd game. Potentially with some exceptions towards the end, but definitely do stick with us, guys. Tell your friends about this because we're only 1/10 of the way through our 30 games.
Yeah, we got a while to go, so stay tuned, guys. We'll be right back.
There ain't nobody here.